Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Neives and I am so excited to be here today. I'm so excited that you are here joining us today. We have a Juneteenth program brought to you by Sweck Ministries and our pastor, Dr. C.R. Bernard. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, that is perfectly fine. By the end of this program, you will definitely know what Juneteenth is. In the next slide, we're going to talk about what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth is the oldest nationally and internationally recognized celebration marking the end of slavery in the United States. Originating in Galveston, Texas in 1865, the observance of Juneteenth as African Americans' Emancipation Day has gradually spread across the United States and beyond. Today, Juneteenth honors African American freedom while highlighting the importance of education, progress, and achievement. The day is celebrated through events such as speeches, picnics, festivals, and family gatherings. This celebration can be one day, it can be 1 week, it can be 1 month, or it can be every day. It is a time to reflect and to express joy, as well as a moment to elevate, to grow, and to look forward to the future. In cities across the country, people of all races, all nationalities, and all religions are joining hands to truthfully acknowledge a period in our history that shaped and continues to influence our society today. Sensitized to the conditions and experiences of others, only then can we make significant and lasting improvements in our society. In the next slide, we are going to see a couple of topics. It's more like an outline that if you wanted to do more research and find out in a deeper sense of what Juneteenth is and how it made a difference today, you can. I'm going to touch on a couple of topics. The first one is the history of Juneteenth, what happened on Juneteenth 1865, and why it matters. We're going to actually dive a little bit deeper into that in the coming slides. Cultural and social tips, why Juneteenth is still relevant today, tying history to present day and racial justice. Inspirational and reflective topics, just one out of many, honoring ancestors and their legacy, paying tribute to those who endured slavery. We are also going to talk about some historical figures as we move forward. If we take a look at the next slide, we are going to see a Juneteenth timeline. This timeline is in depth, and as you can see, it starts at 1855. It starts at 1855 because as we work towards something, we need a starting mark. So yes, Juneteenth was June 19th, 1865, but that was the day that Juneteenth became solidified. It was not the day that the steps started to get there. If you take a look at the first part all the way down, Abraham Lincoln announces the Emancipation Proclamation September 22nd, 1962. If we move a little bit forward in history, the Great Migration, millions of African Americans move from rural South to the urban North. This is dated from 1916 to 1970. Moving a little forward, we see that Juneteenth becomes a state holiday in Texas, June 19th in 1980. If we move a little bit forward, we'd see that Juneteenth is elevated to a federal holiday now, all over, June 17th in 2021. So now we reserve the day to actually celebrate. This is just a few points that I hit. I hope you guys are able to actually go a little bit more in depth with the timeframes and the importance of everything that took place. If we move on to the next slide, we are going to speak about some historical figures who played a key role in emancipation, Black resilience, and the ongoing fight for freedom. Here's only a few of important individuals and their contribution to history. We can take a look ahead. First up, we have General Gordon Granger. General Granger was the Union general who arrived in Texas June 19, 1865. He is the one who issued the General Order Number 3. This General Order was the announcement to free slaves. This means that when he gave the order, slaves no longer belonged to their master and they were able to be free. A highlight for General Gordon Granger, his arrival marks the origin of Juneteenth.
On the next slide, we are going to dive deeper on the Emancipation Proclamation, which was issued by President Abraham Lincoln. We spoke about this briefly on the timeline, but now let's go a little bit more in depth. So on January 1st, 1863, this declared more than 3 million enslaved people in the Confederate States free. So all of these enslaved people were now set free. So let's take a look at the date. I want you guys to catch this. Don't let this go over your head. Slaves were now made free in 1863. Why is it that Juneteenth is in 1865? What is Juneteenth? Why is it so important? Why did General Granger make his way to Texas with this announcement? Well, here's why. Unfortunately, the slave owners in Galveston, Texas wanted to keep their slaves. The slaves that were in Texas had no way of knowing this announcement. They did not have newspapers. They did not have news radio stations. They did not get the word. They didn't get the memo that they were set free. Their slave owners, their masters, they kept this information. They withheld this information from them because they did not want to lose their slaves. So because they knew that if their slaves did not know that they were free, that they were not free. So how can we use this great example in today's world? Well, if you do not do your research, if you do not take the time out to educate yourself, unfortunately, there are still people in today's world that will use what you don't know against you for their own benefit. Guys, unfortunately, the slaves who belonged to the Galveston location, they did not have the means back then to be made aware, but we do. We have social media, we have textbooks, we have people in our lives, knowledgeable people in our lives, some people that are willing to share this information if we would just ask the right questions. Be excited to learn, be excited to allow yourself to absorb new and appropriate and right information so that if you ever needed to defend yourself and walk in your trueness, you can. Let's go back to honoring General Gordon Granger and what he did. So Major General Gordon Granger went to Texas. He brought his soldiers with him and they read the announcement that all slaves were now made free. When these slaves learned that they were free, I mean, I would have ran. I would have ran far. So we just want to honor General Gordon Granger for taking the time out to sharing the good news, because these free slaves, they were already free. They just didn't know that they were free. They didn't know that they can just walk right out. They didn't know that they were no longer owned by a master. We thank General Gordon, and now let's move forward.
Next up, we have Frederick Douglass. Mr. Douglass was a former enslaved man who became a powerful abolitionist, a powerful writer. He advocated for justice and freedom long before the emancipation was fully recognized. Next up, we have Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a courageous conductor of the Underground Railroad. She led many enslaved people to freedom, and we highlight her for embodying the spirit of liberation and resistance. Again, guys, these are only just 3 historical figures that we covered, but there are so many more people who made a difference in our history. Moving forward, you may want to know, how can I be a part of Juneteenth? How can I celebrate? So in this section, we're going to cover how you can be a part of the celebration of Juneteenth. Please only do so if you are comfortable with it, and please know that this is just suggestions. You guys can decide if you want to take advantage of. You can go into your local libraries, your local post office, or maybe a city hall or store and ask them if they are going to be partaking in celebrating Juneteenth. If you're comfortable with going in and saying, hey, are you going to be celebrating Juneteenth, whether that's having a poster or just the colors of Juneteenth, you may be able to inspire them to do so. You can research and support Black-owned businesses. You can either do this locally or you can do this online. How do you do it locally? So you can do it in your neighborhood, you can do it in the neighborhood of where you work, or maybe if you go to the gym. You can purchase items, food, clothing. You just have to do your research and find out what it is you want to purchase. And you also have the option of maybe sharing something online. You can repost or get the word out that there are Black-owned businesses around your area, and you can share it to your network. Another idea is maybe watch documentaries about slavery or other important history movements that were created by Black excellence. You can do this with friends, with family, or maybe the kiddos, the little ones, if you want to expose them to our impactful history. You can share accurate and educational posts on social media to spread awareness of what is going on and what we are celebrating. You can take a trip with friends or family to African American museums or cultural sites. You can volunteer with organizations focused on racial equality and justice. You can enjoy performances of African American music, poetry, and dances. If you want to do a little bit more personal, you can do journaling about freedom, progress, and what Juneteenth means to you. You can allow yourself to just let your pen flow on your paper and just express what it means to you. Last but not least, you can pray for the nations to practice peace and love. You can pray for those who are still experiencing discrimination today, and you can pray for our youth to carry on our impactful history. Again, guys, these are just some ideas on how you can celebrate Juneteenth.
Freedom.